Why should I bother hiring Gen Z employees? So, this question has been coming up a lot lately with many of my clients, most of whom are baby boomers, Gen X, and older millennials. These business owners and executives express frustration that Gen Z employees seem entitled, expect rapid promotions or big salaries, and sometimes seem to do the bare minimum without any interest in paying their dues. Some say that they take a lot of time off, often for reasons that seem vague, like mental health. Others point to disruptions in team morale, both when the Gen Z employees' behavior deviates from the general office culture and norms, and ultimately if and when the business makes the costly and time consuming decision to terminate the employee and hire and train someone new. So if you're a business owner, I get it and I do hear you. And I'm glossing over the fact that, of course, not all Gen Zers conform to these stereotypes. But even if we stipulate there may be some truth and accuracy to these expressed concerns for at least a non negligible portion of the Gen Z population, hiring Gen Z doesn't have to be something you grit your teeth and do only if you have no other options. In fact, it can be a massive benefit to your business if you approach it with the right mindset and strategies. So let's talk about how you encourage your Gen Z employees to make the most of their potential for their own benefit and for the benefit of your business, and why hiring them isn't something you necessarily need to fear or avoid. So first, let's understand the shift in workplace expectations. Let's talk about perspective. Gen Z grew up in a world with access to vast amounts of information at their fingertips, and they saw older generations go through economic downturns, massive layoffs, and job insecurity. As a result, many of them don't trust that any loyalty that they show to their employer will be reciprocated, and they prioritize their mental health, work life balance, and personal fulfillment in ways that, frankly, sometimes seem unrealistic, immature, or distorted to older generations. This is, at its core, a difference in perception and expectations, and it doesn't mean per se that Gen Z is lazy or entitled, just as boomers' different values and priorities don't mean that they are universally workaholics or greedy. If you can create a workplace that supports their need for balance, you'll find a more engaged and motivated employee who is more likely to stick around for more than just a year or two. And you might even find that some of your older workers value these changes just as much as the younger ones. For example, you could offer time for independent work related projects. Even if you don't match Google's famous 20% time allotment, you'll encourage innovation and creativity. Flex time, which allows employees to choose their own start and finish times as long as they're available and on site during certain core work hours. Remote work options, which promote work-life balance and can be helpful for mental health. Additional paid time off in lieu of a monetary bonus to reward exceptional work. Designated mental health days, distinct as general PTO, to show that you take mental health seriously. Wellness stipends for activities like gym memberships, therapy, mental health apps, or alternative medicine. Now, let's talk about the value of entrepreneurial spirit and tech savviness. Gen Z employees bring a fresh perspective that's in touch with new technologies and trends. They're digital natives, which means that they have an intuitive understanding of the online world, social media, and new forms of communication that can help your business stay current and competitive. Now, of course, knowing how to go viral on TikTok or Instagram isn't the same thing as knowing how to debug software code or troubleshoot the company's firewall. But your business might benefit from both sets of skills, perhaps in ways that haven't even occurred to you yet. Additionally, their entrepreneurial spirit is often a hidden asset. They value innovation, and many grew up experimenting with side hustles, freelancing, and content creation. This creativity can lead to new ideas and ways of solving problems that more traditional business approaches might miss. If you have a Gen Z employee in the office who feels underappreciated and underutilized, and it's turning into a pernicious cycle of general apathy and underperformance, here are a few ideas to engage them and make the most of their talents. Leverage their digital expertise. Now, this is the most obvious, of course, but think broadly. Encourage them to take ownership of digital transformation initiatives within your company beyond just improving your social media presence or updating your corporate branding. Gen Z's comfort with emerging and evolving technology can be leveraged to modernize your internal communication platforms or to optimize workflows using the latest tech tools. Allow them to lead intern or new hire onboarding. Gen Z employees can be great mentors to interns or new hires, especially if they're closer in age and more attuned to current training needs. This empowers them with leadership responsibilities and it reinforces their value to the company. Utilize their research skills. Whether it's market research, competitor analysis, or consumer behavior insights, Gen Z employees are accustomed to navigating the internet for information. Let them take the lead on research projects to help your business stay ahead of the curve. Offer public speaking or presentation opportunities. After they've completed a research project for you, let them share their findings and their ideas by presenting them at a company meeting or even at an external event. Many Gen Z employees are used to expressing themselves through social media and other platforms, and public speaking in the corporate setting can give them a sense of ownership and responsibility. Include them in DEI and CSR efforts. Now, Gen Z is known for being highly attuned to issues of diversity, equity, inclusion, or DEI, and for having a passion for social responsibility and sustainability efforts. By including them in leadership capacities within your existing initiatives, or by allowing them to spearhead new ones, you'll give them a sense of purpose and engagement, and of course, you'll benefit from a stronger and more inclusive workplace and promote positive social impacts. Encourage cross-department collaboration. If a Gen Z employee feels boxed into one role, consider assigning them to cross-functional projects where they can collaborate with other departments. This not only helps them feel more valued, but it also allows them to develop a broader skill set. Let's talk about best practices for hiring and retaining Gen Z talent. Now, assuming you haven't already made up your mind to never work with anyone under the age of 30 again, let's get into some actionable strategies to make the most out of hiring, onboarding, and retaining Gen Z talent. Set and express clear expectations early. Now, of course, as a lawyer, I want to see these expectations written into an employment contract, but Gen Z needs and appreciates direct and honest communication as well. Be clear about job responsibilities, performance expectations, and timelines for raises or promotions. Create clear career progression pathways. Transparency is key for this generation, not just at the hiring and onboarding phase, but for ongoing performance management as well. Providing a clear, structured path for promotions and skill development can keep them motivated. They want to know exactly what it takes to move up, and offering tools or programs like leadership training can help them feel like they're on track. Ambiguities here can lead to situations where your expectations of what they deserve can diverge to everyone's detriment. Provide opportunities for growth. And while it's true that many younger employees want to see quick progression, you can manage these expectations by offering continuous learning and development opportunities. Gen Z values employers who invest in their growth, whether that's through mentorship, skill development programs, or more dynamic roles. If they feel like they're growing, they're more likely to stay engaged. Implement mentorship programs. Gen Z values growth and learning from experienced leaders as long as they feel like their own skills, intelligence, and achievements are being respected in the process. Offering formal or informal mentorship programs within the company can help them feel supported and provide guidance as they progress in their careers. This also fosters stronger connections between generations in the workplace. I've personally had 2 Gen Z mentees, and I have been beyond impressed by both of them. These relationships can change the mentors for the better too. Emphasize work-life balance, but set boundaries. So, yes, you probably will hear more about mental health from Gen Z than you might have from older generations, but this isn't a bad thing. Prioritizing mental health doesn't have to mean slacking off. It can also mean that they're thinking about their ability to sustain a reasonable pace and thrive over the long term. Just make sure that you're clear about the company's policies on taking time off and what balance means in the context of your business. This may even mean explaining things that seem brutally obvious to you, like explicitly stating that texting 2 minutes before your shift starts that you're having a tough day and you don't want to come in is not going to be tolerated. Foster an inclusive culture and purpose driven work. Gen Z has grown up in a world that's increasingly diverse and they value inclusion. Creating a positive, collaborative environment where all voices are heard will not only make them feel comfortable, but it can also improve team dynamics and innovation across the board. Many also want to work on projects that will have a positive impact on the environment or society. So if you offer corporate social responsibility initiatives, or if you allow time to volunteer or contribute to causes that they care about, you'll foster greater overall engagement and loyalty. Some final thoughts here. Don't miss out on top talent. While I do understand the frustration that some of you may have with Gen Z employees, I also encourage you not to miss out on their incredible potential. A well thought out approach to hiring and managing them can turn those initial concerns into strengths for your company. And frankly, it can also ensure that you're able to swiftly and smoothly terminate an employee of any generation, really, who is simply unwilling or unable to fulfill their job duties. When I just spoke about setting clear expectations early and creating a pathway to advancement, that was primarily in the context of ongoing performance management considerations once the employee is already hired. But since I am a lawyer, I'd be remiss not to emphasize the importance of setting other types of expectations in advance under an employment contract as well. For example, the default rule in your state that employees are at will and that they can be fired at any time with or without notice and with or without cause unless the contract specifies a particular term? Would it be useful to set forth the grounds for write-ups or immediate termination directly into that employment contract? Does your company have an employee handbook setting forth company policies, and does it enforce these policies and the consequences for violations equally across all staff? An employment law attorney can help you work through these questions, which are critical irrespective of which generations any of your employees are classified as. And finally, yes, under US federal law, age discrimination protections only apply to those over age 40. So technically, youth is not a protected class, and adverse hiring decisions based on someone being too young are not covered by age discrimination laws. But dismissing an entire generation based on generalizations could cause you to lose out on bright and innovative talent. If you're selling to people under 30, you also need to have employees who are under age 30. You need older employees for their experience-based and institutional knowledge, but you also need younger employees who will grow and succeed into those roles when your older team members retire or move on. By adopting a few best practices, you can successfully integrate Gen Z into your business and take advantage of what they have to offer.